Hey, this is Pastor Scott with The Deeper Rock, and today I want to talk to you about your story. Yesterday was smiling, the day before that was their story, and we talked about loving people, making them feel valued and loved, and being authentic with it, and being truly fascinated with the people around us. But there's going to come a time in the conversation, or the relationship, when that person shares, they share, you ask your open-ended question, then they share, and then they feel heard. They feel loved. They feel accepted. They feel safe. And after they feel loved, accepted, and safe, now is your opportunity to bring your story. Now, if you're in the workplace, this might be a new way of doing things. If you're it might be your perspective on a situation. If you're walking through a difficult circumstance with somebody. But what I want to talk to you today is about your story in terms of your relationship with God, because that's ultimately what we want to do. We want the people around us to see Christ in us and aspire towards Christ-likeness themselves. That's what we want to see happen. And so, when the people around us, when they've gotten to the point when they feel safe, they feel secure, they feel loved, they feel heard, at that time, it becomes our time to tell our story. Now, the Bible says in Revelation, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Your testimony is really important because nobody can argue with your testimony. You know, when I talk to an atheist, I'm not smart enough to go head-to-head science. There are people out there, creationists, they can articulate all of these brilliant things, and that's just not me. You know what I do? I just tell them what faith has meant to me, because they can't argue with that. When I say, you know what, and I tell the things that God has done in my life, when I tell him the times he's answered my prayers, you can't tell me that's not true, because you weren't there. And I believe it so passionately. And so, your story. What's your story? Now, if you've been hanging around me, you've heard my story some. I put a pretty detailed account of my testimony / story on our church blog, you know, about Rock Church. I think it's the About Us page that is on. But my challenge to you is to work on your story. Now, maybe you've served God forever, but God has made a difference in your life. He has saved you from pain. You have a story. And so, what is your story? I want you to think about that and begin to develop it. And then I got a challenge for you. And I don't know if anybody will take me up on this, but I might even make some phone calls and say, hey, would you do this? Because this would be really cool to put out there over the month of November, and as things are happening in these next few weeks. What's your story? How did you connect with God? Why is God a part of your life? What happened that brought you to that place? Would you put that on video, and would you maybe, now on YouTube, you can respond to videos, or you could post it on my book, or if you can just say, hey Scott, I got a story I want to share, and one way or the other, and let's share your story with me. Share your story with the world. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to look into a camera on your computer and say, you know, this is what God has done in my life, and this is why I'm a Christian today? Is that something you would do? I don't know. I'm hoping that there's some of you out there, because I know that there are fantastic stories. And because how I connected with God, nobody can argue with that. And so, may the Lord richly bless you. I hope to see you in church on Sunday. And I hope to hear some of you respond to me and say, Scott, I want to tell you my story, because I'm interested in your story. So this isn't, maybe nobody will respond to this, but I'm desperately hoping that some of you will. What's your story? May the Lord richly bless you, and hope to see you in church on Sunday.